Hello, very beautiful community. Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence in the United States, has released a video following a visit to Hiroshima in Japan. She talked about the calamitousness of what happened, what it would mean if it happened again for about 2 minutes. And then the last minute of her video is political. And a few of you have said, please respond. And I said, no. And then you said, please. So we'll do a very quick breakdown of it. Let's do it like this. I don't do any consulting with active politicians. It's just my approach. But if I did, I still wouldn't consult Tulsi Gabbard because she isn't a responsible political actor. But if we waved the magic wand and Tulsi became a responsible political actor overnight, and I did political consulting, and she asked me to critique this video of hers, which she put out just the day before the magic wand was waved, so that she could learn from it. What would I say? Let's do it like that. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll, I think. What we've heard so far is just basically what happened and how disastrous nuclear war is, and we're going to listen to the political bit. I'm listening to it beginning to end. It's a minute long for the first time with you, so we'll have a freshness of reaction. Let's go.
Here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation.
Why the dramatic music? Tulsi, you can't release that. You're not a vlogger. You're not a political commentator. You're not an activist. You're not an NGO active out there to minimize the risk of nuclear war. You're a political representative talking about nuclear war to people you're supposedly representing. You can't have this dramatic music. You actually have to get real with people and say, hey, tough topic, here are a couple of things we've got to know about it. So cut the music.
Than ever before.
If we were closer to nuclear annihilation than ever before, would you say it like that to your population? No. You would say that we're a great country. We've gone through moments of nuclear risk like a Cuban Missile Crisis, and we'll go through future moments of risk, and we're going to be okay because we're America. So it's the speech of a non-politician, even if you thought that we were at an elevated nuclear risk. Now, I happen to think we are, not today, but over the next 10 years, let's say, going to be at a level of nuclear risk that's higher than during some periods of the Cold War. There's no doubt about it, but you've got to be actually responsible and political in the way you say that to your citizens.
Political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between...
Let's just watch this again. Political elites.
Fear and tensions between nuclear
and
powers.
Again, sorry, I'm struggling to scroll. There
carelessly fomenting fear and tensions Political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers.
No, Tulsi, no. You're a political representative. You are the elite. You need to take responsibility for being the elite. That's the first problem with what you've just said. You can't they this. You've got to me and us and we this. Number one, Tulsi, even worse. Even worse. The crisis of democracy is largely a crisis of social forces causing loss of trust in political institutions and populations engaging increasingly in magical thinking about their political institutions outside of cause and effect, for understandable reasons, actually. But that means that the conditions we're living through encourage conspiratorial thought. Magical thinking about institutions is very close to conspiratorial thought. What conspiratorial thought does is assume that the thing that really matters is the thing that you can't see. You have given us the internet code language for signaling conspiracy theory in the words you've used. Because conspiratorial mindsets are mindsets that say that the stuff that really matters is the stuff that you can't see. You're positively, and in this particular video, before your magic wand was waved, manipulatively encouraging people to think increasingly outside of cause and effect. There are no political elites as far as you're concerned, if you're in the office you hold, Tulsi. There are just particular institutions, particular positions and people in them, particular dynamics, particular processes. You've got to explain that and make that more transparent to your population. You can criticize what's going on with some of these things, but you've got to speak about them transparently. So what you're encouraging is not thought about political processes, but an evasion of thought and its substitute by magical thinking. And you're doing that for your political benefit. That's a paradigmatic definition in our age of an irresponsible political actor. Let's go on.
Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to.
No, Tulsi, you're doing the elite thing again. You are the elite. So you can't they, this story. And then there is something else that's problematic, that's adjacent to what we've said. You are not just encouraging the thought that the thing that matters is the thing that you can't see, but you're also encouraging deliberate vagueness about political leaders and political processes. Deliberate vagueness for your political benefit. Who are these elites? Is it Putin? Is it Trump? Is it Xi? Is it Macron? Who is it? You're not going to say, are you? Because you are appealing to people who can settle this thought for themselves, and you're persuading people to become people who can settle this thought for themselves without naming any names. Because it's a politics of magical thinking that you're encouraging. This vagueness about who you're talking about. Oh, he starts talking about Putin. Maybe it's not that bad. But maybe she isn't. But maybe she is. That's politically toxic, right? So far, I mean, we're probably, 30 seconds plus in. This is, a tissue of toxicity.
So it's up to us, the people.
You're not the people, Tulsi. You're their political representative. It's very manipulative of you to play this game. The magic wand has been waved. Don't play this game again, right? I don't care what kind of issues you've inherited from your early years. You're not going to bring this to politics now. You're not going to be irresponsible like this.
Speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war and work toward a world where no one has to live in fear of a nuclear holocaust.
Well, let's try this interpretation, a more concrete interpretation of what you're saying, Tulsi. A lot of people would think that this means you don't warmonger by supporting Ukraine. But if we don't support Ukraine, we might reduce the risk of nuclear war by not escalating that particular conflict today. But because Putin is set on an escalatory path, we'll also increase the risk of nuclear war and increase the risk of a confrontation between Putin and the West. If you want me to explain why that's the analysis I recommend, I can on another occasion, Tulsi. But the idea that you can simply reduce nuclear risk by stopping support in Ukraine isn't a view that I recommend you to arrive at. Because the reality is that we're facing a lose-lose situation there. We're going to face nuclear risk if we support Ukraine. We're going to face nuclear risk if we don't support Ukraine from Russia. So you don't get to play this game. If we're being more concrete and we're reading between the lines and you're saying stop supporting Ukraine, that's not a solution to nuclear risk.
Now, because as we stand...
Okay, so is that it? That's it. Yeah, it's just a model of toxic communication that is abusive to citizenry, because it, without being transparent about this, cuts into all the citizens' current vulnerabilities and entrepreneurially exploits them for the benefit of this irresponsible kiddo. Lots of love.